What a match, guys. It feels so good. When is the last time you remember Roma scoring 7 goals, the Settebello di Scopa, at the Stadio Olimpico, guys? It's the first time we see the Dybala-Lukaku partnership. We see Renato Sanchez doing incredible. We've got Christensen even getting an assist early on. Roma earn a penalty within 34 seconds. This was as perfect of a day as you can imagine. And prior to it, I'm thinking, Empoli is awful. They're probably a Serie B team. But here we see that crazy things have happened. And if Empoli were to come to Roma and score a goal, what could have happened? That everything could have imploded so quickly. But instead, what we see is the boys show up in the way that we know they could, putting together some great plays, some great overall play. And for me, that's my biggest takeaway is they played as a team today. They looked unified. They looked like they had a united goal amongst them, that they were focused. And that is something which comes from the top down, right? That is something which is going on in the locker room between the manager and the players. We know that prior to the international break, there were these rumors of a rift in the locker room. Things were breaking down. It looked so grim. But this win over Empoli could be something special. It could be the turning point. It could be something really good, guys. I am Wayne Gerard. Thank you very much for joining today. This is the post-match live stream of Roma Empoli 7-0, round 4 of the Serie A season 2023-24. We've got a lot of people coming in. It's nice to see you. We may even have Vincenzo, who I'm trying to get in here live from the Stadio Olimpico. Let's see. Click that link, my friend, and you will become a guest. Okay, so he is actually one of our WhatsApp group members, Vincenzo. I spoke to him earlier today, and he was at the Stadio Olimpico right before it got crowded, which was really cool to see. He was super close to the action, his first time at the Olimpico. So I'm hoping that here he is. We've got him coming in. Vincenzo, what is going on, man? How are you?
Well, thank you. I've got the away fans in the background. They're sticking around. They're good sports, let me tell you. Only saw a couple of tonight. They're pretty good sports. You got the score line behind them. Wow. I tell you what, it's a party here. I lost my voice. That's what I know. Oh my gosh.
Was everybody freaking out? Was it just like completely insane?
It was pretty insane, dude. I don't have any thing to compare it to. This is my first European game I've been to, but wow. I mean, it just kept going. Like the first half, you think, okay, the game's over. We had the party. Now let's just, drink some beer and chill. Nope. You got Dybala scoring a beauty. The screamer from Cristante. Mancini scoring that cheeky goal with his heel or something. Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah. Bro, you got to see some of the nicest Roma goals of the last 5 years, all in one game.
And then to top it off, Lukaku we were all saying we want to see Lukaku score. Come on, get the monkey off his back, get his first goal. Wow. And it was coming, the crowd went, and we got a standing ovation. Lukaku got a standing ovation, and he was loving it. Yeah.
So good. It's so excellent, bro. I'm so glad. The Curva Sud, were they super loud today? On TV, it seemed like the stadium was really loud. Is it just as so in person?
Yeah, you watch one of those war movies with surround sound, you had the curve up there in the corner just above the away crowd. They were doing their own thing, and then you had them over here, and they had all the flares and stuff. So it was coming from both ways. You're looking. It was like they were trying to compete with each other, Oh man, it was just crazy. Yeah, the whole time in the second half for sure.
You got so lucky, man. What's on the agenda now? Are you gonna try to find a Roma bar with some people, some fans?
Yeah, I may as well. I'm already halfway drunk, so I may as well. There's a guy from Hong Kong sitting in front of me. He just got married and he bought me a beer. So.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, I gotta go. So.
Bro, Vincenzo, thank you very much.
Ciao. Thanks, guys.
Ciao. Thanks, bro. Enjoy. How cool is that, guys? Vincenzo, right from the Stadio Olimpico. We've got guests live at the stadium now. That's a first for this channel. It was so cool to hear from him. And Vincenzo just got so lucky, man. He just saw, like I said, 7 of the best Roma goals in the last 5 years were just scored in one game. That Cristante rip at the end was tremendous. It was a tremendous win. We need a good banner here. What do we got going on, guys? Throw some comments in. Let me know how you're feeling today, how you're feeling right now. And I can change this. My last banner here was a 2-1 win over Spezia, but now we've got a real scoreline. And I don't remember the last time Roma scored 7 goals ever. I mean, in the last 10 games, did Roma score 7 goals altogether? But anyway, it's time to take a look at some comments. Let's see what's going on. So we've got Juha here, 7-0. Ragav thinks it's time for top 4. Vincent is pumped. And yeah, context, right? We know it's Empoli, worst team in the league, but these are the matches you got to win. And when you win them, it's just as well. You do your duty, you get some great goals, you play good football, you play defensively sound, you play organized offensively, your midfield clicks, they work back in front. I want to go back to the midfield for a second after we're done. Just looking at some comments here. Matt Campea is here. Grazie Roma. We gotta keep playing the same team. Sad Dybala couldn't get his hat trick, but yeah, it is still 7-0. My favorite moment, we'll go back to that real quick. I think everyone was pumped to see him. Young Dashi's here. What's up? What's up? Yeah, that was very cool. That's so neat to have seen him in the stadium. I think Roma's back too. They played a different type of football today, man. I love the way they went for it. From the get-go. That's a mentality thing. You draw a penalty kick within 34 seconds. That says a lot about how you're approaching a match. Yes, insane. Indica Bove Renato. I knew it was coming. All we need is this just stay injury-free. They couldn't recognize Cristante. Yeah, for sure. So one thing I noticed about the midfield more so is that we often say Mourinho plays a double pivot. To me, that wasn't necessarily true today. What I saw more so was Renato Sanchez playing more of this intermedio up and down role, but not necessarily as an outlet, as the guy who comes back to get the goal. Instead, for me, that was Paredes. And I thought the Argentinian played a really good game today. He was the hinge, the pin between defense and midfield. He escaped pressure quite a lot. He's the ball carrier out of the midfield, and I think he's really good at that. I think he's embracing the responsibility that Mourinho is giving him. So I am glad to see him play that way. And that also allows Renato to not be a double pivot. That allows him to get up further and to make more offensive actions, more stuff in the final third. So I was really glad to see him have a good game. We've been waiting for the true, or just Renato in general, right? I don't want to say the true one, like he's had bad form or something, but we've been waiting for him to be fit to actually go out and play. So I'm going to move myself up real quick. Okay, there we go. A little bit of a better angle. Shout out to Gallo for the 2 assists. Yeah, say it for sure. So the fact that you can have Lukaku and then have a player like Belotti who's happy and wants to contribute and gets points off of the bench, that will be so, I don't like to keep using this word fundamental, but that's truly what it is. This will set a baseline for Roma throughout the season. If you can rely on not one, you got your star, right? You got Lukaku. He's probably going to start the majority of matches. But then you have Belotti who can come on and do a job, and he's happy to help the team. He's going to sacrifice his goals in order to make the team play better. That is such a clutch thing to have, guys, and not many teams do have that. So when we start to talk about ambitions, I know it's way too early, but I definitely think about the Europa League final and the roster and the personnel and how that's changed from last year and to what we have now. And I really want it. I really want Roma in several months from now, 5-6 months, to go, where's the final in Europa League? I want them to go and take it. So, okay, we got a lot of comments coming in. By the way, guys, if anyone's new today, and we've got a bunch of new heads in here, new people, remember to subscribe and always, of course, throw a like, help the page grow. I appreciate that. I'm across all social media channels, Instagram, Twitter, and of course, obviously, right here, we've got Ioannis in the house. Suala, first time in here, I think says, the potential is there. The players need to be fit. The coach needed to have some time to coach the team on tactics, and the international break may have been a blessing. Now it's consistency that we need. So I like this point that during this international break, Mourinho did not go on a 10-day trip to Portugal, as he mentioned in the press conference yesterday. They stayed, they practiced with the guys they had, they worked at it, they worked to make themselves better. This team knew that they were in a rut, that they needed to do something different. And the only way to get out of those bad moments is hard work. And is that not true about anything in life? When things aren't going smooth, not your way, what do? You go back to work. And I like that attitude. Ioana says, and here we go about attitude, right? Mental perspective. Ioana says, fantastic game. From that mental point of view, we still need to iron out the passing, but I'm so glad our important players got their goals. It's key for momentum. 100% momentum. Winning is contagious. If Roma can turn this into 3, 4, 5 games in a row, that would be excellent. We have a decent schedule coming up. I'm going to get that for you in 1 second. I'm also going to share your screen after we look at some more comments, and we'll look at what's going on today with that. Okay, just some other scores around the league. If you got a chance to watch that Fiorentina-Atalanta match, it was great. Derby della Madonnina was awesome. And if you are here and you're not generally a Roma fan, Monday or Tuesday morning, I will have a 5 to 10 minute Serie A recap. So not Roma focused, just Serie A in general. Maybe that's something I'm hoping people will be interested in. But anyway, is Renato okay? I'm going to get that injury update for you as well. News is pouring in at this moment, so stay on the channel. And we've got the Dybala interview coming up. I see he spoke. What else? Yeah, we'll get to that. There is something going on with the Curva Sud. I see that there's a new ultras group called Quadrado, which might be a renaming of Fedain. I'm going to get more info on that as it comes through the airwaves. But, okay, here we go. We have got Dybala's interview right here, and let's see what he has to say, my friends. Okay. And by the way, Dybala had an incredible match. His linking up with Lukaku, his goal, his penalty kick, and secondly, his goal. That second goal was so class. He could take players one-on-one. Of course, we know he can, but it was just a different category of player on the field today. Okay, so let's go over to that interview quickly. Share screen. Here we go. There we go. All right. He's asked, Mourinho said that you wanted to play. What do you feel about the new attack with Lukaku? He says, I'm very happy with the arrival of him. Azmoun, Awar, Indika, of everyone. That's the right answer. He's not just trying to make it like this buddy thing with Lukaku. He's saying like everybody, team sport, right? Everyone will give us a hand. I spoke with Mourinho. I tried to recover as best as I could in these days that I stayed training, and I felt good. So there we go, back to this international break, letting the players catch up. Super important. Let's get these ads out of here. Get out of here. He says he's asked, he's told, you finished with 18 goals last year. You started well this time too. Can you surpass last year's figure? He says, I think I started like last year. In the fourth, I think I scored a double with Monza like today. We hope to improve on what I did last year. So 18 goals, 2 today. You figure if he scores in half the matches left of the season, he should be able to break that. He should be able to come right there. And 50% is like an average rate for how much Dybala scores. Are the penalties yours? So what the reporter means by that is like once there is a penalty, are you the number one guy? Does Mourinho say, no, you take it? He says there's no selfishness. Whoever feels best shoots. A question of trust. Some I'll take, others my teammates will shoot. And if you play ball, you know that too with penalties. Like there might be some odd reason why when you get that ball, if you're the penalty kick taker, you're like, you know what? I don't want to take it. I've been there. Sometimes I'm just like, nah, I don't feel good. I'm not fresh, or I'm too tired. I can't focus. I can't balance. So I like that. It's kind of like, it's not just like Dybala's the star and everybody else dances around him and, and claps when he does good things. Like, no, it's all of us together. We make team choices. I like that. Okay. So that's what we got so far. Just a few words, and I'm sure we'll be getting Mourinho is in soon. Let's see if anything popped up yet. That's, yeah. We've got it coming in now. Mourinho's presser. Okay, he spoke to DAZN. I'm going to translate this. I'm going to give it actually 2 minutes because I think that the edit will update and we'll have more to talk about. Because sometimes what happens is these websites are live, and as Mourinho's stuff gets transcribed, they'll update the article and it'll get longer. Like they'll have the full thing for us. So let's jump back to the comments for just a little bit. I'm going to stop the screen sharing. So nothing on Renato Sanchez just yet. We're waiting to hear about him. But overall, Well, one, I'm hoping that nothing is wrong. And two, I thought he played great today, and that's what we know that he can provide. That Sanchez is such a good ball playing center mid. He can escape pressure. He can make the attack. He can even slide in on the tackle when need be. Right. So he's such a two-dimensional, three-way player, if you want to call it that. Something different. And Roma is so lucky to have him. Why do they have him? Because he's injury prone. Let's not mince words. Let's not act like it's all roses and Roma's going to go on and win the FIFA Club World Cup. That's not the situation here. The situation is Roma saw an opportunity. They were able to get him because his value is lower because of that, but his talent is still there, right? His talent is still world class. So when you have that player on the field, there's no substitute for that type of guy. I want to imagine that a fully fit Renato Sanchez starts in any team that he plays on, any team. If you go back to when he was a teenager, he started on that Portugal team that won the Euro. Was that the 2016 Euro? It's crazy. So, yeah, nothing yet though on his injury. I'm checking Football Italia as well now. Before I miss it though, I want to mention that De Zerbi game, the Brighton match against Manchester United. He's playing out of your mind football there. The way that they overload in diamonds and squares and even triangles, they half recycle possession. They play it back a little bit when they need to. Not all the way back, though. No, because they got guts. They're always looking to move off of one another. They're so synchronized. It's like watching what is it, Tchaikovsky, who did the Nutcracker? It's just so good, guys. Anyway, let's get back to some comments. Yeah, no, nothing yet on Renato. What a game, Dashi says, made my day. Haven't seen Roma play like this in a minute. I didn't know that a Mourinho team could play so silky the way that we did today. Because we're used to more of a rough, edgy type of football, counterattack, a couple passes, but not the way that they approached today. I was proud to see it. It was a different type of Roma, and we see how the new formation, the 3-5-2 benefits. We see how Lukaku's play definitely makes this team different. How Paredes has a different skill set, a different profile than Matic. So it's much less rigid and a lot more fluid. Swala says, we should also appreciate the fact that Llorente can make a pass that enables the attack in midfield of the pitch. It's a really good point. We speak about the defense, and one thing I failed to address so far is Indica and Llorente, who were great today. Great alongside Mancini, who really stuck up for the boys. So Llorente's ability, like Soala mentions here, is that he can play that long ball up. He can pick passes out. He can stretch the field out from midfield to attack. And if Roma do advance players, then they can start to overload. Are they going to be that team that overloads and tries to play quadrants and triangles the way that like Gasperini used to, or De Zerbi does now? No. But the fact that they can start to manipulate a side of the pitch is a great thing for this team. Mohammed is here. He says, I think if we apply a little bit less pressure versus Milan, we would have the second win. Maybe. When it comes to personal mistakes, right? It's so unfortunate that it changes the approach, because Mourinho's plan A is excellent. He's built them always plan A. Plan B is tough, because plan B is where we see the midfield to defense get stretched out. And that's where Milan was so dangerous. That's where they're most dangerous, is their front three, with Pulisic leading that, right? And then you got guys like Chukwueze, Giroud, and they're able to push players in between those lines, with Pulisic going from right to left, left to right, and manipulating little areas of the pitch. So that early goal was so unfortunate for Roma. And now we see that Milan do have weaknesses. And you look back and you're like, could Roma have done more given the state that Milan is in? It's like, yeah, in a different reality. But the fact is that when you get pinned and plan A goes out the window, plan B is so tough against a team like Milan, because the exact gap that Roma has to leave open then to compensate to go and get a goal is the exact space in which Milan likes to play in. And that's what made that really difficult for us. Chris Locke says, shouldn't be super excited. Just Empoli. It was good. Aouar and Pellegrini didn't even play. Yeah, Aouar, I don't know what happened to him. I don't like why he wasn't on the starting bench or starting formation. I wonder if that was tactical or if that was fitness based. I found that interesting, because he's been arguably Roma's best player of the season so far, along with Bellotti. Suarez says we just have to be supportive and patient with the coach and his staff and the team. I liked a lot of what I saw potentially. Dashi says we should keep this tempo going next month, all easy games. Imagine if Roma can get to November on a streak. It would be really good stuff. Christensen improvement. Yeah, that was great, right? A player who's been criticized so much in the first 3 games of the season shows up, gets an assist, does great 2 ways. Defensively, gets up. And we've been told here from our Danish supporters, where is he? And that this would be something where Christensen would be the more defensive guy. He's a guy and you could bring in the second half of a game to close down a lead. But here we see a little bit of a different. We see a little assist, and we got to be proud of him. HH, it is nice to see you as well, my friend. Wish Asmoon scored. Imagine all 3 Roma strikers plus Dybala scoring. That would have been insane. That would have been like history book stuff. Bongani says, fantastic performance. Goal difference fixed 1 game. LOL. Could have been more considering Paredes and Dybala hit the post. Yeah, that Paredes corner kick that would have been so cool if that went in. It was a good look. Sometimes I try that too in like my little pickup games. Always look for the back post off the corner kicks. But by the way, guys, we're, like I said, across all social media channels on Apple Podcast and Spotify as well now. So that's one reason why I read every single post out loud, is so if someone is listening on a podcast, they know, just what the heck we're talking about. Forza Roma, Bongani says, yes, my friend, sempre for sure. Today of all days. But a little about my morning. So I had breakfast with another Roma fan and a Milan fan, and the owner of the bakery is an Inter fan. So the 4 of us together, it was very funny. And of course, the Roma fan and I get along real well. And his name is Chicho, and he's a chef at one of the best restaurants in Jersey City, real close to where I live. And it's just cool to have that camaraderie, But he was wearing the new Adidas kit, and I was able to feel it. And the material was really cool. One day we'll have him on here. Very great guy to talk to. Balance it as a 15 more minute recap. It will be more contentious as detailed. Forza Lupi, Estashi. Mourinho doesn't play offensive football. Well, he got 7 goals today. Francisco says, hey, Wayne, what's up, bro? Francisco, it's good to see you, man. I'm sorry I couldn't see you at Roma Club New York today. Incredible match. Fantastic way to come back from those first 3 fixtures. Dybala, fantastic match. And so is Cristante. Yes, Cristante with that bullet. Suala brings up a point here. Says, I think Renato's mobility and decision-making improves the team in its midfield play, for sure. I think he and Lukaku's hold-up play was the additional difference to the team, not taking anything away from Paredes. It's definitely something new. And Roma hasn't had, I can't remember the last time Roma had a player like that who could hold up the ball in the middle in the same, like when you're attacking and keep possession, not just through footwork, but I mean like strong, This is a player who was a street baller, and you see it so much in Renato's game. Ben says, shout out to Rui for the clean sheet. Gets all the hate, so it deserves some praise. Yeah, that's a good mention, Ben. Give Rui some love for his clean sheet. Cristante is covering Dybala, Ragav says, playing more of a Rakitic role like he used to do with Messi. We're open to counter as Cristante half the pitch, and Paredes is not great at sensing danger. Pagano played really well when he came on. Yeah. Mikius, I think your first time in here. Pagano is a player who I believe in. I think this kid's the truth. I think he's got what it takes. I want to see him integrated more into the starting 11. I love his brain, the way that this kid sees the pitch. He's not afraid to take the shot, to make the smart play. Yeah. And Vincent kind of sums it up here. Not one bad player today. And also says Rui's distribution was impressive. Portuguese keeper, he probably knows a thing or two about passing out of the back. Great to hear from you after such a good game, Wayne. Ioana says, thanks, bro. Just looking at spots to improve. What do you think was our weak link in the lineup? For me, sadly, it was Spinazzola. Everybody else looked better. I wonder if Spina's a little bit rattled by what's going on. There's this idea going around, report, if you want to call it that, in that Spinazzola will not be renewed, and that come season's end will be Spinazzola's last one with Roma. I see it happening because you got the big contract, injury prone, and he's getting older. Like, it's not good business for Roma to keep Spinazzola. Does that mean I don't like him? No. I like him when he comes on. I like that he's dynamic. He's got great footwork. He always looks to cut in and hit the back post. Pre-injury, I mean, obviously I'm an Italian fan too of the Azzurri, and how could you go turn your back on a player who got this team so far, into the semifinals before tearing his ACL? Like, I would never turn my back on Spinazzola for that reason alone. But I think that pragmatically speaking, if I'm the director, if I'm Tiago Pinto, I don't know if I can justify keeping Spinazzola on a big salary and re-signing him to something that's similar. And it's hard to imagine him taking a dip in salary when there's big offers. There's MLS, there's Saudi Arabia, there's Turkey for sure. Maybe he wants to go play with Mertens and keep his salary. Then it's going to be difficult. Llorente played for Spain not long ago, so he has the quality. True. Good point. Rui I trust, but Svilar to play in Europa League group stages. We'll see what happens with that. I wonder if Mourinho wants to keep Rui active to keep his form up. Suala says, I noticed that the midfielders Cristante and Renato were attacking in between the wings and the striker at certain times, causing a direct effect on the Empoli defense, who had to attend Lukaku. Good observation there. One, that you got a real football eye to notice that they are taking that space, and that is something like what you said. Empoli could not cope with that today. I could go with so many players, men of the match today. Rocco, it's good to hear from you. Ooh, if I had to pick one, I wish this was like the NHL after the hockey game where they give like the 3 stars. I'm making a lot of sounds. Dybala, but also I liked Paredes. I liked what he offered. Lukaku, though, for overall team play, I thought was really good. I think he made the whole team work so much better. Sanchez was awesome. Cristante didn't put a foot wrong. If I had to pick one, I got to give it to Dybala. Scores a sensational goal, scores the first penalty, sets the tone of the match. So if I got to, it's Dybala's game. Okay, fitness as to why Aouar was out, and he was sitting with Smalling and Tammy. Good. And Belotti, yeah, for sure, those 2 assists. Kevin Haynes says, what we have now are better players, and finally a number 9 that can hold the ball up under pressure. And what does that say about getting Mourinho his players? Get the guy his players, and Roma can play tactically sound. That's the case with many managers, right? If you get them, if they're perfectionists on a certain style of play, you have to give them those guys. But Lukaku is a different type of striker. I'm very impressed with him. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I watch every single Inter Milan match and Belgium, international game, or Chelsea for that matter. I didn't watch him so in depth because I'm like, this is not a player Roma could ever get. To actually land Lukaku seemed like a pipe dream. So I just like, out of sight, out of mind, right? What I am noticing about Lukaku is just his overall quality. Take the strength too, but man, he's so good at just making things work, getting into the box, scores the goal at the end. He's got so much under his belt that he can do and contribute to for this team. What's up, Leo? Says Forza Roma. Rocco says Sanchez gives us more mobility, plays down the middle, something we've been missing. Lots of great comments today, guys. You can keep them coming in. Suala says, I observed that most defenders, apart from Llorente, are not very comfortable on the ball. Kept losing the ball under pressure. Did you also notice that the team intended to pass from the back? It's a good point, too. So, Llorente is the ball-playing center back. Mancini can be. I did notice a couple misstepped passes. I don't know what that's about, why they weren't able to be a little bit more crisp, but Germanicus, what's up, man? We definitely needed those 7 goals. Our goal differential has been terrible. True. Settebello. Who else plays Scopa here? I put that as my let me grab your screen for 1 second. I'll take you over to Twitter and let's see what's going on there. But that was, so on Twitter, at the end of every match, I post these little, like, I don't know, what do you want to call it? A recap, an analysis. So this is what I stole from Scopa. Settebello, which is, if you play the card game, it's one that you really want. A couple comments coming in here as well, Twitter-based. When Roma needed night like tonight, Jose produces. That's what they mean. The best Roma match I've watched in almost 3 seasons. They never wanted to stop. Where would Abraham fit in this team? Ooh, that's a dicey question. Today, too easy. Expectations still low. Cristante, phenomenal. And Mark Fofa, I think from Nigeria, says Daye or Ghana. I forget. Don't curse me out. I'm not confusing the two countries. I'm just saying I don't remember exactly which one he came from. Okay. Where does Pellegrini fit in if we continue like this? It's tough. It's tough to imagine exactly where Pellegrini slots in. You're not taking Sanchez out. You're not moving Cristante, and you surely can't move Paredes. I think it's going to be rotation. If Mourinho has every single player at their best, maybe that's really tough. I wouldn't discount the idea that Pellegrini does not start if every single player is 100%. Oh man, just I want to take a look at what else was going on Twitter today. Let's scroll down a little bit, my friends. Oh, that Lukaku goal, his first one under the Curva Sud. Brian Cristante, that hit, and I was pumped up here. I was really happy to see Renato get that goal, that header. So, oh, that's funny from Enzo. Roma scored via a quality cross. Says we're back. That's funny. Lubala. Lubala? Are we gonna go with that? What do you think of that? Lubala. I don't know. I'm not buying into that one just yet. Sorry, IFTV. Anyway, let's go back to the comments. Yeah, smash that like. Get that in, guys. Show some love. Subscribe, likes, all that good stuff. In the next few months, we're going to be starting, hopefully, doing some membership stuff. And like I promised, the first season is going to be completely donated. Right now, I'm heading towards New York Wolf Conservation Center, but that is something we'll talk about at a later time. Ariel says, ooh, a no-go for Pellegrini. 60 plus viewers. We need more likes. Love this channel. Thanks, chat. Thanks, Chaturunga, my man. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't think Pellegrini starts on this team. If I'm honest with you, everybody fit. I think today, Paredes, Cristante, Sanchez is your midfield. Then you've got your right wing back, your left wing back, and your Copia, your Lukaku Dybala. For me, it's got to stay like that. You can't score 7 goals and completely outclass your opponent and then be like, yeah, we're going to switch it up just because this guy's the captain. No way. You can't disrupt that. FFP will force Roma to say goodbye to both Spinazzola and Rui Patricio, reduce wages bill, and make space for quality additions on a free transfer. Why not? This is where I think this is one hopefully good long-term benefit is it's caused the club to kill off some salaries and be adamant about getting rid of them. This is Thiago Pinto's hardest mission that he's had since he joined this club was getting rid of those salaries like Florenzi or Olsen or Cengiz Under was on some crazy wages. We go back to the Monchi era, right? Ali says, Wayne, it's been a while since I could make one of these lives. I missed you and the rest of the community. Dayer Homa. Yes, my friend. Done with Mourinho's presser reaction. Oh, yeah. Good point. We got to get to that. Where does Pellegrini fit in this team? Yeah, we're looking back, right? You got to sit Pellegrini. Yep. You got to sit him. Jeez. I often hear Mourinho is a defensive coach, but Mourinho uses tactics to suit the player he has. This is the coach that at Real Madrid scored over 100 goals and got the most points ever in a season. So I'm going to run through the comments before we get to the Mourinho press conference, my friends. Lubala. Ooh. There's a lot going on there. I'm not going to repeat that. Lukaku hold up play, unbelievable. I don't know why he gets so much hate. Hello, Wayne. Do you know? Yeah, of course I know Roma Press. I agree this was a great lineup. To be honest, Rocco says Lukaku looked like he was piggybacking a bear in the second half. Fitness not there. Yeah. I kind of agree with you there. In ESPN Espanol, they called it Rompa, Romelu Paulo, which has a funny ring to it. Rompa means break in Italian. Rompere le palle, like to break balls or to like tease someone. That would be funny. Rompa. I think Rompa is it. Pellegrini will come back stronger. Pellegrini should play the way Pirlo played. He has long pass and technique. The team can't keep the same players all the games to not have them get injuries. Maybe it works. This is what I do foresee Pellegrini, his future. This is what it should be. Lorenzo should be groomed into a regista. I'm not repeating that. But yeah. This is it. I mean, how long will he have the legs in him to be a number 8 or, this intermedio, right? Pellegrini's fitness has been a concern over the past 2 years. At that point, you start to think about where can he go in the future? Because if these injuries keep hampering him down, he's not going to be utilized as a winger or even a front man or even an attacking mid, for that matter, maybe as a sub, right? I do think, though, he has in his arsenal good long-range pass, and he should be carved like Leo says here, right? He's got the technique, play the long pass. Does he have the footwork? I mean, comparatively to Pirlo, that would be insane to say. But does he have those capabilities? And I think so. Vincent says, too critical on Pellegrini. If he was playing today, he'd be just as good as everyone on the field. When a team plays well, everybody looks good individually. There's that too. But back to Leo, I agree with this. I think Pellegrini should be groomed into a certain different type of player, because one thing we always wonder is, what is Pellegrini's best position? Okay. Ariel says, Ndika good defensively, but bad passes and touches. Now he understands why Mourinho did not start him. It's hard to totally disagree with that. I think he did good. Ndika's a great 1v1 player. He is the guy that can take over from Ibanez, and I think his ceiling is much higher than Ibanez. So at this point, my friends, it is time to look at the Mourinho press conference. And if you're new to this channel, you know what to do. Stick around. We're going to be talking Roma, Mourinho for however long he's here, the pre-match conferences, the post-match conferences, everything. Tomorrow or the day after, which will be Monday or Tuesday morning, I'm going to start a new little series, a Serie A recap show. So this channel is going to keep growing. I want you to be part of it. I want you to stick around with me and help the community grow, as we tend to say here. If you want to jump into our WhatsApp group too, I will leave it on the comments once I'm done recording. So Mourinho spoke to Dawson, and the reporter mentions Dybala was happy and the best one on the pitch. He says, I'm the coach. I have to think differently and express myself differently. They played well. We didn't play a 7-0 game. It happened, but it's not like you played to win 7-0. We played to win calmly. So he's like, oh, I realized I didn't share the screen here. So give me 1 second. Okay, now we're in business, my friends. We played to win calmly. The team played a good match, not uniformly. There were ups and downs physically too. You feel that there are people who don't have the condition to play at a high intensity for 90 minutes. Lukaku. We did good game management. Then the result, 4 or 7-0 happens. I feel sorry for them, but it's football and it happens. He's a good winner here. Marco, our friend, was not happy with the way that Mourinho put down a reporter yesterday. But the fact for me is I really appreciate when a coach is a good winner. He's like, it's unfortunate. He's not gloating. He's not saying, yeah, for all the haters who said we were crap, like now we're good again. He's not saying that. He's just saying it's the right approach. And sometimes football stinks when you get crushed. Lukaku scored practically at the last available opportunity, given that the exchange with Azmoun was established. For me, it wasn't important, he answers. Maybe it was for him. You know how the strikers are. They live for goals. But the message from him as an expert player was that the team is there, not Romelu who has to score. For him, it's perfect. He scored under the curva. He came out happier, but for me, nothing changed. He gives a different profile to this team. We mentioned that a lot. We have to learn to play well with him, and he doesn't know how to play well with us yet. There's little time to work. The games are used to improve. We use them to improve, he means. And today, analyzing from the bench, I saw things that I didn't like about the team. Nice. Did you like the midfielders, Sanchez, Paredes? He says, yes. Paredes also needs to improve his condition. He didn't do a single training session with PSG. Then he went on the bench with Salernitana 2 days after his arrival. He played very few minutes with the national team. He needs minutes, but controlled minutes, also to change his profile a little. because with the ball, he's an extraordinary number 6, which we don't have, but we must improve. He must improve his intensity, his way of thinking about our defensive game, especially when we are in the low block. There are many things to improve. So Paredes here getting, I think, what needs to be said by the boss. If he is going to be this Matic replacement, then he does need to control that intensity. He has to think about what he's going to do and the decisions that he makes in the low block when that ball does land at his foot and how he keeps his zonal pressure. Is Lukaku physically there? How did you find him mentally? He's asked. Mourinho responds, happy. Romelu needs to be happy, to feel loved and wanted. And this is a point for any coach, my friends. If you coach out there or you're a player, I've gone through hard times as a player, really tough ones. And what I realize as in both shoes is players need to feel loved. Bottom line. He says here he immediately felt that the team needed a player like him. He obviously likes to win. It's his nature. At Inter, they don't have a reason to be angry. They won the Derby 5-1. They're very strong and have many attackers. They must be happy for their former coach who needed Lukaku. What message does Roma send with this 7-0? Says, I don't see things that way. I understand the press perfectly, the influence it has on some fans. But for me, we weren't the team we said we were in the last 2 weeks, nor was I as bad as they said. But today I'm not extraordinary either. And the team has become incredible. Humble Mourinho. We have to work. We have potential to do well. The only objective is to win today. Now the only objective is to win on Thursday. What do we got here? We got a few more. We got 4, 5, 6 more questions. Okay, this is a big one. Okay. Do you have a squad to face the 3 competitions? He's like, do you have enough players? He says, we have to manage. For example, right now we have 3 central defenders. We manage Renato, Dybala too, and others it's more difficult to manage. We were also unlucky. For example, Atalanta always play on Thursday and Monday, while we play on Thursday and Sunday. There is someone in the league who is not in love with me. Let's see, but we will certainly make some changes on Thursday. Even if it's not important for you, as Roma's coach, I'm pleased that on match day 4, players like Pagano played 3. 3 matches so far is what I understand him to be meaning there. Okay, to who's he speaking to here? This might be a general question, not to DAZN. This is just the press conference. Did Roma feel satisfied too soon after getting up 2-0? He says, that's what I expected. I asked for intensity at the start of the match, and I knew perfectly well that we had no fuel for 90 minutes. I didn't mind because I expected it. When you lower the pace out of necessity, your concentration must increase. If you do not have the intensity to press high and try to be vertical straight away, you don't have to make horizontal passes. In the first 20 minutes, they didn't have any great opportunities to score, but they had dominance and possession. We need to be smarter at managing. There were 5 players who started the game who weren't here last year. We need them to understand how we play. And one thing they don't understand is how we play when the block is low. Yeah, they got to get used to that. It means being dominant but playing lower. The 7-0 is too much. We didn't play a stellar game. On the injuries, he says, Aouar was like the others in balance, like if they were going to make it or not. It's one thing to be recovered. It's another to be able to play. He had a feeling of tiredness where he had hurt himself. When muscles call, you can't take risks with players like that. He played Renato, who beyond the price tag, which helped me to decide to change him, was perfect. Him, Dybala, El Shaarawy, Azmoun, we have to manage them and make them grow in training by training and playing. We must not let them arrive in a tired condition. Romelu, due to the way he trained alone and for the national team, his 2 matches, he was the one that was in better condition. So that's explaining why, right? Azmoun still not there. Lukaku, not 90 minutes worth today. Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, he looked tired, but he's getting there. During the break, so when they say he, that's because this is translated from Italian using Google, right? It's lei, it's polite, it's formal. It's like you received a lot of criticism, but the you is formal. That's why it translates to a he. About what was wrong. Today, the answer is in the quality that Roma can finally show. He says, players are coaches. Coaches help players to be better, but they are the coaches. I've always thought of it that way. When it comes to phenomenal coaches, they have to do it even without phenomenal players. We always do our best. Today, we saw quality in the game. To build from the bottom, the players need to know how to do it. It means to build from the back. We made some mistakes, but they are gaining confidence. We have to improve, but it shows. Lukaku had a ball and scored a goal. These are important things. More quality and more conditions for the team to play well. Is Indika? Ooh, I'm glad I read the whole thing because I want to see what he has to say here. Is Indika a defender who can be a starter? He said he's not a child. He made 150 matches in the Bundesliga. They played three-way, but in a different way from us. Won't tell you the details because I don't want to give them to the enemy. But in the first half, when he was in front of me, I struggled a bit with him because you have to guide him. He has presence, leg, like speed, and is fast. With these three central defenders and Smalling, we have four different but quality defenders. When one is missing, we only have three, but these four are reliable. On Dybala's great performance. Just leave him alone. It's okay. All right. Back to reality here. Let's stop the screen. Let's see what the comments are coming in. Okay. Pellegrini as a regista, like Hakan for Inter? Maybe. Yeah, exactly. The way that Çalhanoğlu now plays for Inter. So not necessarily a defensive mid, but a regista and like a ball playing number 8, and not a true intermedio, but a mezzala who stays a bit more stationary. Yeah, regista, mezzala, somewhere in that mix, because he's never just going to be someone who stays still. That's not totally his style. It's too much to think that Pellegrini can transition to that player, but to rely more on the long ball, I think, is where we need to see him. And Fanny says, longtime fan, what a great game. Good seeing you, my friend. Nice to meet you. He says, I missed the first goal. Kevin Haynes says, I would like to shout out to the Academy boys, Bolve and Pagano. And Silv says, Mourinho is a hard task master. Humble Mourinho. Yeah. I thought in the presser he was a bit more humble. Is Moo mad that the team played aggressively? No. So what he's doing here is he's holding them accountable, and he's saying, you guys said I was not good, and all of a sudden that's changed, right? But he says, but this is match just because it ends 7-0 does not mean I'm extraordinary. He's right. He's human. Mourinho is human, whether or not many of us want to believe that or not. Ariel says, let's win 4 games in a row and be buzzing. And then Cristante says to Mancini for the 7th. It's a good ball. It's a good ball, my friends. So, yeah, if you weren't here earlier on, we had Vincenzo, who was straight from the Stadio Olimpico. I spoke to him earlier in the match when people were getting there, and then he joined us right after, and he had nothing but insane stuff to show us and tell us. So if you, after this is over, this recording, go back and watch the first 7 minutes, I think. So it comes up fairly quickly. We got him in there. It's awesome, my friends. So 7-0. Can't remember the last time this happened. 66 people in here. Awesome to see. Remember to show love. Thank you. What do they say? They say smash the like button. Those are the good keywords here. The YouTube words. I wonder where that came from. I'm thinking probably like Twitch or something. Anyway, a couple scores from around the league before we sign off. And before I do that Serie A review show on Monday, tomorrow, or the following morning. Fiorentina-Atalanta was a great game, and Fiorentina showed a lot of heart. They've got really good players this season. I like them a lot. They signed my favorite left back, Parisi, from Empoli. Genoa-Napoli 2-2. Not so good for Rudy Garcia. Cagliari-Udinese. Red card for Cagliari at home. Must have been a super boring match. I shouldn't say that without watching the highlights, but Monza-Lecce 1-1. Red card for each. Frosinone with a comeback over Sassuolo. That was also an excellent match. Salernitana played tomorrow at my 12:30 New York City time. And then the late game, the 2:45 or 8:45 Italian time, Verona faces Bologna in Verona. And match day 5 will take place starting next Friday. So just around the corner, 5 days from now, it's already match day 5 and 2 games on that. And Roma's next match is Torino in Torino. And that's the last game of the round next week, 2:45 for me. So that's the late game. Let's check a few more comments. Guys, before we get out of here, this has been running almost an hour. We're at 15 minutes. So throw in some last thoughts and ideas. Mourinho with that jab at Guardiola. Great coaches should be able to do it without great players. Yeah. I don't know if Guardiola is a great manager because of that. I talk to this with my boys, with my buddies all the time. And I'm like, yo, I don't know. Has he ever proved himself? He had the golden generation at Barcelona, walked to a title, Champions League, then takes the wealthiest team in the world who buy any player they want. And he's the best manager in the world because he gets Haaland to score and win the Premier League. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I think that's a tough stretch for me to say. Right now, for me, the best coach in the world is De Zerbi. If we take this form, RZB, wait, RDZ, De Zerbi. Good point, Rocco. A lot of people agreeing with him. So we'll be back tomorrow, probably, right? If not the following day, like I mentioned. Let's take a look at Twitter before we wrap things up, see if anything else came from maybe Football Italia real quick. We'll keep this under an hour. A bunch of ads on Football Italia. Okay. No, nothing crazy yet, guys. Maybe I'll make like a short update tomorrow, but it was excellent to have you here. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you across social media between now and then, all right? We'll talk soon. Thanks for joining. Forza Roma.